Hello friends, and welcome to my Phase 2 guide on Top Ultimate. In this guide we'll cover all of the mechanics and how they work, and then proceed to break them down. Without further delay, let's begin. This phase will begin with Omega male and female spawning in the center of the arena to two sides. We'll dub them M and F. M and F will begin to cast Firewall. This will give players close to M and F Packet Filter F, and players close to F Packet Filter M. Packet Filter M will prevent all damage on M, and Packet Filter F will prevent all damage on F. Split your party into two light parties, one tank, one healer, one ranged, and one melee on each Omega. Although you don't have to do exactly this, my group has 3 DPS and 1 tank on M, and 1 DPS of both healers and 1 tank on F. The reason for this is so we can burst down M, but do whatever fits your group. Also, take advantage of cleave damage just before Firewall is finished casting. You can fit in 2 GCDs and 2 OGCD weave windows just before the debuffs go out. Next, both M and F will cast Solar Ray, a magical tank buster that gives a magical vulnerability. Have both tanks take an Omega each and either use invulnerabilities or cooldown through this. Alternatively, you can do what my group does, which is force both Omegas on one tank and only have one of the tanks use their invulnerability. Just watch the aggro and have the other tank provoke once the invulnerability runs out. Next, M and F will cast Party Synergy. This will tether players together and give each pair symbols above them and debuffs. These debuffs being mid glitch, which is close tethers, and remote glitch, which is far tethers. You'll need to know this for later, but we'll get back to that. Both M and F will become untargetable, and an eye on the outside of the arena will spawn in a random cardinal or intercardinal direction. This eye will fire a straight line AoE throughout the middle of the arena, and 2 clones of M and F each will spawn. 2 of these clones will do nothing, and 2 will cast an ability. M will do an AoE around him, which will be out, indicated by him only having 1 sword, or a donor AoE, which will be in, which is indicated by the sword and the shield, but you can just look out for the shield. Meanwhile, F will do a plus AoE, indicated by just her staff, which will be out, or 2 line AoEs to her left and right, indicated by her bladed heals, which will be in. We'll call the M and F doing nothing fakes, and the M and F casting real. To find the real M and F, first look for the M outside of the arena. Ignore the middle M, as they'll always be in the middle. Next, look where the M is facing. The F he is facing is the one who will cast an ability, and the one off to the side will be a fake. Once identified, dodge accordingly. If it's out and out, it's rather simple. Don't be near M, and don't be in line with the real F. In and in is simple enough too. Just go towards the real M and you'll be safe. In and out requires a bit more brain power though. If F is casting in and M is casting out, just go towards F. If M is casting in and F is casting out, go towards the real M and dodge to the sides, either left or right. This safe spot is the tightest, so just make sure to not be too in. It's harder to be hit by M's donut AoE than F's line AoE in my opinion. Next, the eye will start casting. Once the eye goes off, every player will be targeted by optimized fire, which is a spread AoE. To solve this, we'll need to spread 4 players on one side of the eye and the other 4 players on the other side of the eye, and we'll have to take note on if it's close or far tethers. Because if you go too far with a close tether, or too close with far tethers, you and your partner will suffer a vulnerability, which will kill both players once optimized fire has gone out. The lineup my group does is as follows. If it's close tethers, triangles first, circles second, crosses third, and squares fourth. This is starting from the eye. Make sure to not be too close slow, as if the tethers are too close, you'll suffer a vulnerability. I know this is counterintuitive because you have to be close with close tethers, but it's something you'll get a feel for after some time. If it's far tethers, the left side will remain the same, but the right side will change here. Squares will be first, crosses will be second, circles will be third, and triangles will be fourth. This will effectively cross the tethers, which will make enough distance between each player to not cause vulnerabilities. To organize who goes where, we'll have to rewind back to when M and F initially casted Party Synergy and split our groups into 2 light parties. One party goes left of the eye and one goes to the right of the eye. The players at the very edge will never have to adjust, while players in between will look to either the left or the right of them, depending on which initial light party they are in. If a player has the same icon to you further to the edge, then you'll swap light parties. If a player has the same icon as you but are further in the middle, they'll adjust. This makes players further in the middle higher on adjust priority, while players further to the edge lower on the adjust priority. If you adjust, you essentially switch light parties, so keep that in mind. Going back to the iron spreads, once this mechanic has been resolved, 2 players will be marked for a stack, requiring 4 players each. A bunch of Omega M's and F's will appear. These M's will all cast AoEs around them, and the F will do a pushback. During this mechanic, the tethers will still persist. To solve this, use your light parties and first find the true north, this being the 3 M's all next to each other. If you're the right group, get pushed to the right always, no matter if it's close or far tethers. But if you're the left group, be pushed back to the left side if it's far tethers, or the south if it's close tethers. For far tethers, make sure to take the stack to the edge of the wall, and if it's close tethers, make sure to move a little bit in so you keep the tethers close. Just be aware of the M's AoEs. If 2 players on the same side get targeted by the stack, have the player furthest from the eye adjust and swap light parties with their tethered partner. This will prevent stack overlap and keep 4 players in each stack. After the stacks, Omega M and F will become targetable again. Be aware that Omega M and F will swap. This only really matters to tanks. You can either provoke back your M and F or just ignore it. It doesn't really matter as long as one tank isn't taking both M and F auto attacks. Keep F in the middle of the arena and have the tank with aggro on M drag him to the center of the arena stacked with F. After a short while, Omega M and F will cast Limitless Synergy. Once finished, this will dispel packet filter M and F. Omega F will then teleport to the north of the arena and cast Laser Shower. This is her enraged cast, and M will shield her, making her invulnerable. The party must kill Omega M to make F vulnerable. Just after the cast of Limitless Synergy goes off, there is 1 GCD and 1 OGCD window before F becomes invulnerable, so you can use this to cleave both M and F. 5 clones will then spawn, 3 M's and 2 F's. We'll cover them in order of mechanics. One of the M's will cast a Bard Limit Break, which is a dodgeable line AoE at a random player. And 1 M and F, directly opposite of each other, will tether a random player and begin to cast Optimized Blade Dance, a physical tank buster with a massive cleave AoE. To handle this set of mechanics, first have all players stack up southwest. This will bait the Bard ALB, making a guaranteed safe spot in Omega M's hitbox. During this point, the tank tethers will go out. Have both tanks take a tether and drag them to the edge of the arena. Position the tether clockwise from the ad and about halfway between waymarks. This will angle the cleave so it frees up as much room as possible for the rest of the party. To determine which tank takes what tether, we have 1 tank take northmost and 1 tank take southmost. As a tank, make sure to pop mitigation or invulnerability through these tethers. After the first set of mechanics, another pair of mechanics will come out. The remaining M will be in a random cardinal or intercardinal and will cast Beyond Defense. This is believed to target one of the 2 closest players with a spread AoE and then target one of the 2 closest players with a stack AoE. If you took the spread AoE, you cannot take the stack. Meanwhile, the F will cast Optimized Meteor. This will target 3 random players with proximity-based AoEs. To solve these mechanics, have 2 players bait the Beyond Defense, preferably tanks or melees, and have the 3 Meteor players spread opposite of the M with the shield. This is so they don't accidentally bait the spread and the stack. Have the other players without meteors stack up opposite of the shield M and ready to move into stack. The stack location will always be between the M in the middle and the shield M. If you baited the spread, make sure to run out so you don't get hit by the stack, otherwise you'll suffer a doom and die. Alternatively, you can have the 3 meteor players stack up with the non-meteor players and always have the tanks bait the spread and the stack. To do this though, you'll need to hyper mitigate and shield. This includes all tank and physical ranged raid-wide mitigations and a deployment shield from a scholar or Zoe shields from a sage. But it's worth it for the DPS you'll gain by keeping everyone attached to Omega M. Any mitigation you use on the meteor and stack will also remain for an upcoming double Cosmo Memory, which the final 2 Omega clones will cast. This is a magical raid-wide hit. After this point, just kill Omega M and once dead, focus down F. And off to phase 3 you go. And that will conclude this guide. Stay tuned for the phase 3 guide, but with that, I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, take it easy, stay safe, we out, goodbye.